You know, the hymns that we are singing this week in the chalice lighting, they all have a meaning that we hadn't anticipated. I hadn't anticipated when I chose these hymns. But they're so comforting, aren't they? They're so comforting. I hardly knew Glenys Olshock in 2002 when her husband, Fran, died suddenly. Even though I knew her little, I knew that already. I loved her much. Like hundreds of others, I made my way to St. James for Fran's memorial service. Heading up the steps just ahead of Glenys and her children, I turned back to greet her. We embraced, and choked up as I was, Glenys put her hands on my shoulders and she said, "Today is going to be a good day." Ever since that day, I repeat this wisdom to families on the day of the memorial service. Today is going to be a good day. Last week, Reverend Caitlin began her beautiful sermon with a story she thought would surprise you. It was a story about a wish for good grief. Glenys's greeting may similarly surprise you or strike you as odd, but this morning I hope to assure those of you who need assurance that the memorial service does indeed make for a profoundly and poignantly good day for good grief. I know that some people recoil at the prospect of a memorial service and further insist, some, that there be none. A local funeral director helped me to deeply understand why that's a bad idea. When at the end of a service, the two of us stood at the funeral parlor's exit. It was a service that I had done for my daughter's 4th grade teacher whose father had died. A man approached us, the funeral director and me, as he made his way to the door, and he said, "There'll be none of this for me. I want nothing." He was emphatic. The funeral director was so gracious, and simply allowed the guy to leave without comment. He said nothing. This funeral director and I have a really good relationship. He was my daughter's soccer coach. And so I felt that I could ask him not without some incredulity. I practice this, incredulity. Thank you. All together now. Incredulity. Thank you. What he thinks about this particular decision to forego a memorial service, and he said that plenty of people choose to die without a memorial service, but then something they did not foresee happens to their survivors. What happens is that for them, the memorial service happens, all right. The memorial service happens at Stop and Shop, in the produce section, when a neighbor offers their condolences. The memorial service continues 6 months later when you're online at the movie theater and you run into your loved one's coworker who offers their condolences. And still a year later, at a viewing for your aunt, you see your cousin who lives away, and although your cousin is grieving his mother's death, he offers you condolences. If there is no formal memorial service, the informal memorial service never ends. On and on it will go. I thought that was so fascinating, right? And a formal memorial service offers a container for communal grief. It is a container that is bottomless, but there are parameters enough into which our collective grief may be poured. It is assuring. And that assurance, my beloveds, is beautiful. After death comes, the sooner the memorial service can happen is the better. While more families are far-flung, doing the best that can be done to make the service happen sooner fills those first very disorienting days with holy purpose. The dearly beloved are steeped in the throes of the sacred work of honoring their loved one's life and naming their legacy. In doing so, you are honoring your dearly beloved's relationships as you are honoring your own with that person. And some of the most beautiful moments spent around my table have been those spent planning the memorial service, by far. Sharing stories, choosing music, readings, speakers, quotes. If this sounds like encouragement to trust that it will be done well and with love and without your input when you die, you would be correct. I've been known to ask, when is a good time to give up control? Perhaps when you're dead? So, for example, instead of choosing all the hymns, perhaps tell your loved one, as I have told Lily June, which hymns I really can't abide by. Just steer clear of those, and the rest is up to you. You all know those hymns that you'd come back and haunt your loved ones. Don't sing that one. And P.S., know that Caitlin disagrees with me on this front. You can take that up with her. It's my sermon. So let us imagine that the planning has been done and it is the day of the memorial service. We're going to take a look around the church. Quietly secured away in the Vale Library is the family, away from the buzz of activity. There have been water and cups and tissues set out for their comfort. There is that buzz in the kitchen as souls sweep in with sweets for the feast that will follow. An array of details are attended by the greeters stationed in the lobby, helping newcomers find their way down the hall. And then in Unity Hall, hymn numbers are inserted, tissues are placed beneath seats, memory cards at the ready to distribute to the guests who are beginning to arrive. Gary or Bill is at the piano, the gathering music is setting the tone. And when we are assured that all the central characters have arrived, the family makes their way into Unity Hall as a kind of hush settles. After one last check-in with the family, I take my place here to name what we have gathered to do. We gather together to mourn the death and celebrate the life of our dearly beloved. For at the memorial service, we do both. We mourn. And so let us pause for a moment to consider this. I remember my friend Sally, now of blessed memory, grousing when at the height of the AIDS epidemic, as our friends were dying at a shocking rate, she was preparing to attend yet another named celebration of life. "I am sad," she shouted at me. "I don't want to celebrate. I want to cry." A memorial service is an opportunity to do both. But you can't ignore the mourning part. A memorial service is an opportunity to make friends with your emotional self. Yet we seem to be fearful of such a thing. Exhibit A, an obit from 2010 that I clipped and saved just for such an occasion. At the obituary's conclusion, it said, this is a quote, "After after a private family gathering, a casual celebration of life will take place at 4 o'clock at the Bethel Inn. A casual celebration of life. Fearful of mourning and seemingly as uncomfortable with celebration, the family landed on a casual celebration of life. There was also a request that loved ones refrain from sending flowers. Do we not think it odd that even in a casual celebration of life, flowers are eschewed? Nothing about a memorial is casual. Nothing. On the contrary, a memorial service is the epitome of mindfulness and deep care taken. Oh, poor Luke. Because that's what you do for the people you love and have lost. You take care of their memory. You dig to find meaning in their life and in their death too. And when such care is taken, something truly beautiful and mysterious happens at the memorial service. A calm washes over the bereaved. We are all slightly set apart from time's usual pace. The beauty of beloved souls gathered up rises up and holds up those who are deeply grieving. The Lord's terrifying kindness comes to us. So begins the poem entitled "The Soul at Last." The soul at last. The poet, prepared, facing the pews where the weeping beloved sit before her, senses something out of the ordinary. The soul of the dearly departed, perhaps, that's what she understands at least, a vision that she describes as only a small, silvery thing, say a piece of silver cloth, 1,000 spider webs woven together, a handful of aspen leaves with their silver backs shimmering. The moment is shimmering, and such are the moments that define the memorial service, shimmering, beautiful. But what is this mysterious thing that she senses? Is it alive? Can it be trusted to rest in the poet's memory as a sign of assurance? It came leaping out of the closed coffin. It flies in the air. It dances snappingly around the church rafters. It vanishes through the ceiling. Dear souls, I have had this feeling at the memorial service. That the soul of the dearly departed is hovering above us, among us, a benevolent spirit going to its rest. Sweet Honey in the Rock sings, "Those who have died have never, never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the groaning woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth." Somehow, in some mysterious way, the dead continue on. And so do our relationships with those who have gone before us. A new relationship begins at the memorial service. Quite remarkably and inevitably, we learn something we had not known about the dearly departed in that hour. Raise your hand if that has ever happened to you, that you cannot believe you did not know. Something that will affect our relationship with our loved one now gone. Scripture tells us that love is strong as death. Our relationship, it changes in time, and this realization is a terrifying kindness that assures us that in death there is deep meaning. In grief, there is deep meaning. And the memorial service is where good grief begins. And it begins in community, as Caitlin reminded us last week. Pat Smith was present here at All Souls right up until her Alzheimer's disease claimed her memory. We've not seen her and her husband, John, also suffering with significant health challenges for years, and I forgot to name Pat as one of the souls who died. Regardless, we will mourn Pat's death and celebrate her life this coming Saturday, and you are all welcome to come. You who knew Pat, and you who never had the good fortune of knowing her. If you are part of this congregation, if you understand yourself as one of the souls that is All Souls, then you are welcome to come to grieve this loss in community. To indicate to the Smith family that this is how we mourn the death and celebrate the life of all of those who make this place, this community, this congregation shine and pulse with life. In these particularly heart-shattering days, a memorial service is a place where we pour our grief and make meaning of our lives, as the chalice lighting indicates. It is the chalice lighting that we use for every memorial service. It is in the memorial service that the best of this congregation shines forth. And so shine on, dear souls. Do not plan your memorial services, but know that there will be one. And we will come with sweets and hymns and singing and hold memory of your life in this place and beyond. Amen. Amen.